Oops. Hey, I hope you're well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're calling in from the world. It's Andrew Hawks here. You can call me Doc Drew. If you're not following me over on Instagram at Andrew Hawks Online, you can. And of course over at TikTok as well, at Andrew Hawks Online. Hey guys, we're going to dive into today's stream. It is a bit later than normal, but as I said the other day, we're back into the traveling mode. We're currently sitting in Perth. I'm sitting in Perth, and if it is a little echoey in here, I do apologise. We found one of those nightmare places again, I'll be honest. We got in at ridiculous hour. Flight didn't land until midnight, and then, well, in fact, it was 10 past midnight here, so that was 2 a.m. for the time zone that we've been in. And then we went to the wrong place to pick up the keys. So by the time we got here, it was, I don't know, just after 2:20 when we got into bed. So didn't get much sleep, about 4 hours, been up, had my walk. You may or may not recognise the shirt from yesterday, and it's because of convenience. It was just easier, so you'll probably be pleased you're not here to smell it. Anyway, if you want to know more about me, who I am, what I do, who I help, then head over to drewsdaily.com and just grab yourself one of the either the Sovereign Wealth Kit or the DeFi checklist. But look, today we're going to dig into something that confuses a lot of people. And look, today's call is probably going to be shorter than normal. And the reason being is because I do have to go and pick up a car very soon, and I'm obviously blown out because of the late night last night. And it wasn't so early this morning. I realised that sleep was a little more important than getting up early enough to do this for, certainly wouldn't have been doing it for the East Coast. But anyway, here we are. The difference, it's something that's incredibly important and most people in crypto miss. And that's the difference between tokens and coins, right? It confuses a lot of people. And why does it confuse so many people? Well, probably because most people just assume that everything's a token or everything's a coin, or really don't know what that fundamental difference is, and it really is only a fundamental difference. And I spoke with, as I said, I had a meeting the other day. It was more of a catch up, his buddy, and he was like, well, coin, token, same thing. I was like, bro, you're in the space, you should know that. No, there's not. I said, but that said, I didn't know either for a long time. I didn't know what the hell it was. But there is a fundamental difference. So you can have a look at what it is straight out of the gate tells you where it's from. So Bitcoin, for example, which is obviously the oldest, might be the slowest too, but it's the most well-known. That is a coin because it has its own native blockchain. So Bitcoin it is a coin because it has its own native blockchain. Ethereum is a coin because it has its own native blockchain. So a coin can be defined by something that runs on its own blockchain. That is its own entity, if you like. So anything that uses itself for gas on its own chain is probably a coin. That's not, bless you, that's not to say that you can't get APY staking or anything like that for those coins. You probably can. In fact, you can. But a token, hey, morning, Harren, how you doing, brother? I'm here in your part of the world. Let's catch up soon. I've got to pick up a car before I can come and see you. And that is so that a coin runs on its own native blockchain. A token runs on a blockchain. It's not necessarily native to it. So probably the most prevalent example of this would be USDT, US dollar tether. It is a token that is tethered to the price of the US dollar. So it's stable, right? So there's not the volatility in it like there is with Ethereum, like there is with Bitcoin, or like there is with any of the other coins that probably run on their own blockchain, right? Well, coins do run on their blockchain. We've just made that differentiation. So a token runs on it, and it doesn't have to be native to it. So USDT runs across multiple different chains. It can run on the Binance Smart Chain. It can run on Ethereum. It can run on the Tron network. It can run on the Ethereum network, obviously. So that's a token that can run on the chain. It's not necessarily native to it. Now, you might go, well, okay, so what? Iran, Iraq, we're splitting hairs. It's a little bit of, we're splitting hairs about it. But if you understand the fundamental difference, it can give you a different way of looking at it so that you can go and find out more about it. So as I've said, a coin runs on its own blockchain. Bitcoin runs on the Bitcoin chain, Ethereum runs on the Ethereum chain. And like digital fuel, it powers the network. That's the gas that we're looking for. So if Ethereum is like a road system, ETH is the toll fee. Hey, Jamin, how you doing, brother? Hope you're good. I see you coming in there in Facebook. Hey, guys, if you're watching on TikTok, just come and tap that screen. Let me know you're engaged. Let me know you're there. I can see you. If Ethereum runs Ethereum is the toll to run on the Ethereum chain. And tokens are the cars using those roads for different purposes. So again, back to our USDT example, or USDC. It runs on a chain, so it's working on that highway. And that's the best way to look at it. It's one of the best explanations I've ever had from someone. And that is that if we look at blockchains, they're kind of like highways. Oops. I'm just going to do something here, boys and girls. Just because it's that time of the day where my phone, that was only affected TikTok. It's where my phone switches back into, yeah, you can call me now. And I don't necessarily want that right now, because obviously I'm here with y'all. So the best explanation I've had is, or the most simplified explanation I've had is like, well, look at a blockchain like a highway. So there's plenty of different highways. There's the blockchain highway, the Bitcoin highway, there's the Ethereum highway, there's the Solana highway, there's the Tron highway, there's the Ethereum highway, there's blah, blah, all these different highways that will run. And there'll be tokens that will drive on those highways. So it's a really good analogy to look at that. So, gone a little bit far there. But then we also need to look at what gives a token or a coin its value, and that is utility. What can it be used for? So if we look at Bitcoin, it's scarce, right? There's only ever going to be 21 million of them ever minted. 10 million of those were in the first 125 odd million blocks, or however many blocks it did in the first 4 years and was in existence. 10 million were released, and then there was only 5 million the next 4 years, and then there was only 2.5 million the 4 years after that, and I think we're into our fourth cycle with that now. No, we're just 16 years, we've just finished 4 cycles, so now it's probably only about 1.5 million that are going to be released, but it's going to get less and less and less and less and less. So that means it gets harder, they become scarcer, therefore they increase in value, they go up. So the utility in Bitcoin that most people look at and most people see and most people use is its store of value. I can put some funds there, yes, it's volatile, but everything is. And if we look at it, and again, this isn't financial advice or anything like that, this is just a logical way of looking at it, a little bit of common sense applied. If we look at it, if we go, okay, in 2009, I put $1,000 in Bitcoin. Man, imagine if I did. Today, 16 years later, that $1,000 in Bitcoin would be worth billions of dollars, right? So it's over time. So the volatility, if I'd put it there and just forgotten about it and left it until we got to now, that volatility wouldn't bother me at all, would it? No, I'd be pretty happy with the end result of that. And 16 years isn't a long time, relatively. I mean, I've got a 15-year-old and it's gone like that. He'll be 16 this year, so he's not quite as old as Bitcoin. He's ignoring me, but that's all right. So, he speaks teenager fluently. So that's the utility of Bitcoin would be its store of value. And then if we look at Ethereum, what's its utility? Well, it acts as gas on the Ethereum network. Now, the Ethereum network was really one of the first networks, the pioneering networks, that allowed people to build apps to work on the Ethereum network and built tokens to work on the Ethereum network. If you ever see an ERC20 token, that means that it's built to run on the Ethereum network, right? And you'll see a lot of other EVM compatible chains, meaning that they also share a common wallet address, but they run on different chains, on different networks. That's probably the scope for another show, another stage. So what gives its utility? If we look at meme coins of the like of Doge, of the like of Shiba, there's probably not a lot of utility in it. But you have to look at the development team. What is their end goal behind it? Is it just that they want to pump out a coin and pump it high and say it's going to do all of these things and then just rug pull it and take all the money out of it, all the liquidity from it, which happens, and it happens sadly all too regularly. But the utility that a token has is something that obviously drives its value. And we've already mentioned Ethereum for like paying fees, but it can also be used for unlocking tools. It can also be used for governance when we start to get into the realm of DAOs and things like that. So you could say, okay, you've bought X amount of tokens. Because you've bought tokens that are operating on this chain for this DAO, then we're also going to give you a governance token with that. So when you hold that governance token, or just the mere fact that you hold these these tokens, it gives you voting rights inside of that DAO so that you can have your say, and it becomes a very, very democratic protocol that everybody can sort of use. Now, that actually leads into governance tokens. It gives you the ability to vote on protocol decisions. So what happens within this ecosystem? Do we want to expand? Do we want to go higher? Do we want to go wider? Do we want to limit the amount of people that can come into it? Do we want to expand the amount of people that can come into it? And I think I used an example, I've used an example before about Link's DAO, which is of course a DAO that was used to raise money to buy a golf course, and it was then also used to govern that golf course. We needed a new greenskeeper. Okay, cool, awesome. These are the guys, these are the candidates. This is all their credentials. Let's put it to a vote. Let's use that governance token to then go in and say, right, we like this one for these reasons, or whatever. You don't need to do that, and it can be completely anonymous, because remember, the whole point of decentralized, the whole point of DeFi is so that you can retain your anonymity, so that you can retain your privacy. Yes, everything's transparent, everything's visible, you can see everything for sure, but no one knows necessarily who those numbers are associated with, right? Okay, I've just made an observation for myself, guys. If I seem a little bit flat, it's because I've only had 4 hours sleep. I have gone for a walk, so I have done the right thing by myself in that sense. And I did want to make sure that I checked in here and said g'day, because I made a commitment that I would come here daily and do this, right? So I'm here showing up. I don't even know what time we started, so I can't even tell you with any accuracy how long we've been going. Which is normally I'm like, okay, well, this is the time. Anyway, disregard that. It's all good. So governance tokens, it allows you to vote on different protocol decisions. Now, a security token, this represents ownership or shares. Now, this is incredibly heavily regulated. Why? Because it's in the centralized sense, isn't it? It's not, it's DeFi, it's in the decentralized space, it's in the blockchain space, the Web3 space, but it's still heavily regulated, the same as it would be if you have to go, wanted to go and buy shares. So I couldn't turn around and say to you, hey, and look, I've been down this path of being sadly on the wrong side of this, where I have been offering these unwittingly. But I'm not licensed to go out and offer you a security token. And this is where a lot of startups, a lot of companies fall over, particularly through the MLM or networking space, is because they offer a security token. Now they try and dress it up as something different, but that's essentially what it is. But they represent ownership or shares, because it's a security. You're getting security over something. And again, it's heavily regulated. Stable coins, pegged to a currency itself, quite often the US dollar, but there's stable coins that are pegged to the euro as well. There's stable coins that are pegged to the British pound, but for most part, inside of crypto, most things are pegged to the US dollar. We've got USDC, which is US dollar coin. We've got True USD, we've got USDT. They're all based on the US dollar. And I think even DAI, I'm pretty sure that that's stable as well, again, pegged to the US dollar. In fact, I don't even know if DAI is still around, but I assume that it is, because they had some very, very good use cases. And you could stake that, you could get a reward back from it through protocols like such as protocols through compound.finance, as I mentioned before. And then, of course, you got the meme coins, which are really for entertainment purposes. They are highly volatile. They are speculative by nature. So they're the ones that are like, hey man, I'm going to buy this and it's going to go to the moon and I'm going to make a fortune. I'm going to get a Lambo. They're your meme coins. Like Doge is a meme coin, 100%. Shiba Inu, meme coin. And there's lots of those in the marketplace. And of course, there's many, many marketplaces for them. People trade them, they send them backwards and forwards. In fact, I know of a few different sniper like copy trade bots that only work on meme networks. And they work on meme networks because, yeah, thank you. I see that love coming through. Appreciate that. This is JJ. Appreciate you, man. Hope you're good down there. So they use. Where was I going with that? JJ interrupted me, but I appreciate it, JJ. Thank you very much. So those meme coins, they use people's FOMO, fear of missing out, to generate high incomes. They moonshot them and then they rug pull them and they take all the liquidity out of the market, and then all of a sudden, bang, you're left holding the bundle. And I guess an example that I quite often use is the Hawk Tour girl. Now, she come to fame for something crash she said on YouTube, and look, I'm not judging by that. Whatever, we've all said different things. Fine, no worries. But there was a meme coin, and somebody took advantage of her. To be honest, I don't think that she had the smarts to do it herself. Maybe she did. Maybe she played the part very, very well. But based on her credibility, her celebrity, there was a coin created called Hawk Tour, and it literally is a meme coin. And it was pumped up, and it was hyped up, and it was pumped up, and it was hyped up, and it reached astronomical heights. And people, because they loved this girl and because they trusted this girl, she was a wholesome girl from the south or wherever she was, they put in their life savings or their children's tuition fees. And it went up and up and up, and they thought, man, we've got a mozza, we're going to make a fortune. And then when it got to pretty ridiculous heights, the people that were holding a very large portion of the tokens went whoosh and pulled all the liquidity out. And that's called a rug pull, and most people lost their life savings in that meme coin. Now, because of the volatility in meme coins, it attracts a lot of traders, and that's why those copy bots, and that's where I was going with that before, that's why they have that ability to go and make money there, because there is volatility. So they'll go and trade that market, and they don't care whether it's going up or going down. They'll put long or short trades on it, same as you can in the FX space. All right, so why does all of this matter? If you don't know what you're holding, you'll panic when it drops and you'll sell it. If you don't know the value of what you're holding. So I'll give you an example. I'll use Bitcoin for an example. In 2017. Bitcoin hit its all-time high at that point of around $20,000 around the end of 2017. All-time high, $20,000. Lots of people have been brought into it thinking, man, if I don't get in now, I've missed it. It's going to go. Now, I know of an example of a guy in Australia who sold, it might not have been Australia, it might have been the States. But anyway, he mortgaged his house, not sold it, mortgaged his house to buy Bitcoin. Now, a financial advisor wouldn't tell you to do that. And to be fair, I wouldn't tell you to do that. Now, is it something that I might do myself? Yeah, absolutely. If I believed in the project enough, absolutely I would. But I wouldn't tell someone else to do it. Hey guys, and if you are just joining us, head over to drewsdaily.com. I haven't got my little sign today, so I keep forgetting to remind you. But head on over to drewsdaily.com. You can download your Sovereign Wealth Kit, or you can get the DeFi checklist. You can find out a little bit more about me. There is a WhatsApp link that you can then message me on if you want to, and we can have a chat about what's going on. But if you don't know what you hold, then when the market drops, you panic sell. So at that point, as I said, he took 20, Bitcoin was at its all-time high of $20,000. He mortgaged his house, $100,000, put it into Bitcoin. So he had five Bitcoin. And what happened? Well, it dropped back down to $3,500, didn't it? Not straight away, but over time. Now, if he didn't have diamond hands, if he wasn't really clutching it then, just holding onto it, you know what, I'm going to ride this no matter what. If he had paper hands, he was going to let that go. And that's what most people do. Most people get in that position, they're like, I can't afford to lose any more. And they're like, it's everything, take it out. Yeah, sure, the market dips a little bit more and they feel better about it. Oh man, I dodged the bullet there. And then it turns around and goes back up. And we get to where we are right now. And we're only 8 years on, aren't we, from 2017. Where had he left his 5 in there, what would he have? He'd have 500,000. So he would have had a 500x return or 500% return. So knowing what you hold and what utility it will play in the future is important for you. Ethereum. I held Ethereum when it was, I think I had it at $45. No, I had a reasonable stash of it too. I put it out and put it into another investment. But of course I look at that now and go, well, that was stupid. I would have made more just by holding it. I didn't know what I had. even though people had said, hold Ethereum for the long term, it's going to be a good coin, good coin. I still sold it. I would have made, well, I would have made a shitload more. I would have made 100x on what I had. But anyway, hindsight's 2020. This is what gives us the lessons. This is where we get the wisdom from so that we don't make those same mistakes again, but understand what you hold. And there's plenty of, if it's a good project, if it's a good blockchain, there's going to be plenty of transparency because everything is on chain. You can see every transaction from the time it went live. And even that, you can probably even see some of the test data in some cases as well. Okay, so you can see all those transactions. They're open up front about who the development team is. Okay, Bitcoin was a little bit different. Nobody truly knows, well, maybe they do, who Satoshi Nakamoto is, who's the creator of Bitcoin, but it's irrelevant. People understood what that was. And realistic, if we look about it now, it's probably more of a nostalgia thing because we're like, well, it was the original. Yeah, but it's slow. It's archaic. It takes half an hour minimum for your funds to clear so that you can use them. There's other blockchains now that'll do that in fractions of a second. It's in your account, bang, you can spend it. So you do have to do your research and find out who the development team is, what they're all about. Now, if you do understand what its utility is, you'll see the opportunities that others miss. Now, there are literally thousands of projects out in the market. I got sent one the other day. And this was a red flag for me. It might have been a legitimate opportunity. And it was Texit Coin, and it's about Texas exiting the United States, succeeding from the United States, and becoming their own country again. Bless you, becoming their own country again. And it's going through, and it's on its own chain. They've got an explorer. They've got all the details there. Everything looks to be transparent, but there could be a backdoor in it that we don't know about. But then I read through some of their literature, and they go, guaranteed $12,000 a month. No one can guarantee you $12,000 a month. They might be able to guarantee you an ROI, but they want to be able to give you a time frame on when you get that. But they can't say, oh yeah, $12,000 a month. There's too many variables in it. And if that's one of the big red flags, like there are cases where it works. So, but for me, on the face of it, and I don't, if I had the inclination that I wanted to investigate it more, then I probably would and I'd find out more about it. But just on the face of it, I didn't have the inclination because I'm pretty busy with what I'm doing. So it's like, yeah, no, it's a red flag for me. I'm not interested. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate the sentiment. But guys, so they're out there. You've got to understand what it is. You've got to research the opportunity and make sure that it's something that fits for you. And then guys, if you are just joining us, head over to drewsdaily.com. You can grab the Sovereign Wealth sheet. You can grab a DeFi checklist. You can even message me privately and we can have a chat about what the space looks like, what it holds and where it's going and whether it's something that you should be looking at or not. So would you rather hold a coin or a token that looks cool, like, Dodge, that doesn't really have any primary function yet? Now that may change, that may absolutely change, or one that actually powers a financial system, one that people are migrating to. And there's some really, really good examples of this as well. But this, for me, is about your individual sovereignty. It's about you regaining control. And this is just, these little shows, they're just little snippets to go, okay, well, this is just a little bit of understanding that you might be able to take with you to be able to use to make decisions for yourself to see whether this is something for you or not. It's about positioning yourself before the opportunity closes. And I'm not talking about any one specific opportunity. I'm talking about the decentralized finance opportunity. Because I've said it before, I'll say it again, that door is closing. That door is absolutely closing. And if you don't get through it before it closes, then you're probably going to get trapped in it forever, and that's not real cool. So it's about knowing what the assets do, not just about what they're worth today. Not what they're just worth today. It's about what are these things going to do? What are they going to power? What projects are going to come into this space so these particular coins or tokens, no coins realistically, because they're the ones that are going to hold true utility because they've had a blockchain built for them. And if you're looking for a blockchain project to get involved with, look for something that is of general purpose, not specifically one niche anymore, because I think that window's closed for most people. That's the Ethereums, right? That's the little projects that that had a really tight-knit community, but for a specific purpose. You want to be looking for blockchains now that are kind of go, okay, we can do everything. We want to, they're going to be the Amazon of the blockchain world. So these are things you should probably have a look at. So guys, again, if you want to know more about me, who I am, what I help, what I do, who I help, head over to drewsdaily.com, grab yourself the Sovereign Wealth sheet, jump into or the DeFi checklist. It'll be one of the two. If you want both, and then just message me and I can send you the other of whatever one you missed. But anyway, I will be back tomorrow. I'm going to wrap this up now, and I'm actually probably going to get caffeine on board today. I don't normally do it. I know I'm drinking coffee, but it's always decaf, so I might actually get caffeine on board. It might help me through today. But I'll be back tomorrow. Still won't be the same time that I've been doing, but it'll be the same time for me. It'll be around 6:30 here. But yeah, and we'll cover some more interesting stuff and give you some more insight into the DeFi world and why you should be looking at it more seriously. But anyway, guys, I hope you have a freaking awesome day. Remember, we create everything in our life, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, we create it all. So if we're creating, we might as well go and create something freaking amazing. Have an amazing day. He kōnei rā. See you later. Ka kite anō. I will see you again, and I'll be back with Drew's Daily tomorrow. See you guys.